All right.
Great.
I'm Mookie, or Mark, if you prefer, from 88.5 FM here in Southern California. We have Fran here from Rolling Blackouts Coastal Fever. And we understand there's a big time change and all of that. I presume that you're calling us from Australia now, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, in
Right.
Melbourne.
So it's well into the afternoon here, and it's probably early morning where you are, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It's about 10 o'clock.
So there is a song that we're playing off of the new album, and it should be said that the new album "Sideways to New Italy" is coming out in June 5th. Was that always the date, or did you have to push it back because of all the craziness that's happening?
No, no, that was always the date. And it just, yeah, when all the craziness set in, we were, deciding whether or not to put it out on the scheduled date or push it back so that we could, play some shows around it, which is generally what you do when you release an album. But I don't know, it just didn't feel right really to just push it back because I mean it's sort of so indefinite still, like to just sit on the album for who knows 6 months, 9 months, 1 year. We weren't really into that idea. So yeah, it's just going to be a different journey for this album, to put it out in the midst of all of this. But I think like we're pretty excited about it, like to have new music out there at the moment, like having put a few singles out. We put She's There out and Falling Thunder out while, we've been in lockdown, and most of the cities that we have toured to before, they're in lockdown as well. I think it's a good time to put music out. It's like, yeah, releasing this little thing out into the world, and yeah, it's. I mean, yeah, I've been listening to a lot of music. I've been listening to a lot of the Beach Boys recently. For some
Have you
reason, that's
been?
really resonated. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Um,
usually my first question is, what are you doing now? Are you reading books? Are you writing music? Are you listening to music? And have you
mm,
guys taken to the internet at all to do like live streaming or anything like that? Or
Not really, no, because we can't go over to each other's houses. We will be able to as of tomorrow, actually, but
yeah,
um, since mid end of March, we haven't been able to go over to each other's houses. Um, I mean, we were talking about doing it, but I think for a band like us, we sort of rely on the chemistry that we all have. And if we're not in the same room together, it's just not really the same thing.
yeah. Also, it's like you're going to ask a bunch of people who might not be so tech savvy, or maybe you are, to try to figure out the internet, and oftentimes,
Well, it
I'll,
just took me half an hour to get onto this Zoom call.
right, yeah.
Not my problem.
And oftentimes, the sound quality, isn't
Yeah,
great, when
yeah.
that happens. So Rolling Blackouts Coastal Fever, the website is rollingblackoutsband.com. I've been telling people you could support these artists. If you're not buying a ticket for a show, you could buy the merch, t-shirts and vinyl and stuff like that. There's product in bundles available on your website. There's a towel. And also, I wanted to ask you about this whole cassette tape craze, because I don't have a cassette player. Do you?
Yes, I do. I've got it in my car. My car is antiquated enough that it still houses the cassette, which I have to say is a great function because I've got this other piece of cutting edge technology, which is an aux cord that is connected to the tape. Do you know these things? They were popular 20 years ago.
Yes, I had one.
Yeah, you could plug a Discman or a Walkman into it. Well, you can still plug, if you have stuck with an antiquated phone, which I've got an iPhone 6, it's still got the same jack as a Walkman or a Discman used to have. So you can plug in your Spotify to your tape deck. So look, I'm all for the technology. I think you know it's 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 gone through the period enough where it's been old for long enough, and now it's like vintage, and I think it's good technology.
I think it's cool. At the very least, it's just a cool item to have.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
looking actually, when I was on your website, I was looking at all the stuff available, and I went in the other room because I have like a record player slash CD thing, and it's got a Bluetooth as well, but there's no cassette
Mm,
no
yeah,
cassette player in there, which
yeah.
which I thought was funny.
I don't know if they're making any new cassette players. Hey, like obviously record players are back in production, but I don't know
Yeah.
if anyone is like making new cassette players. They should. They should.
They should,
It's,
absolutely should. So you've leaked a few songs. "She's There" is a song that we've been playing on the air for a number of weeks now. It sounds great. "Falling Thunder" and "Cars in Space." The great video for "Falling Thunder," by the way. You were literally on vacation when you shot that.
well, it's funny that I didn't shoot that. Our friend Jamison Moore shot that, and she's a photographer, film artist. She did the clip for us for French Press, and she had it was just weird because me and Joe Russo, between a US tour and a European tour last year, we went to the Aeolian Islands, which is where Joe Russo and Tom Russo's family is from initially. And so we were on a holiday there. And at the same time, Jamison was in the same area, just on different islands at different times. So we didn't actually cross paths, but she just took all this really, really nice iPhone footage, phone footage, I guess it was nothing, um, while she was, on holiday, and she's just got such a good eye, and she just had that on her Instagram, and I mean, we were listening to, actually, we were listening to one of the other songs, and that footage was on, and then we decided, no, that if we could ask her to use it for the Falling Thunder clip, then it would be really good, because we wanted to actually film us playing live at the Aeolian Hall, which is like a community hall for people from the Aeolian Islands. But then the shutdown happened, so we couldn't use any of that. But
Right.
so the clip is just footage of that trip, which I don't know, I really like it because it seems so far away now. It's something that you just can't touch, you know. So yeah, it was
Yeah.
really let us use that footage.
Yeah, that's cool. We're talking about the video for "Falling Thunder," and there's more videos, new content from Rolling Blackouts Coastal Fever. So again, the new record "Sideways to New Italy." It's coming out soon. The last one came out a couple of years ago called "Hope Downs." It's been said, and I don't think it was you who was quoted, but somebody else in the band. The new record is set in a particular time, and I think it was said that it was set when autumn is turning to winter. Was that the entire concept for the record, or did the album just come together organically? Is it a concept record? Um,
Uh, no, that reference is that's to do with "Falling Thunder," the song, not rather than the whole album.
oh, no kidding.
And Tom wrote the lyrics to that, so I'm I'm not as across the inspiration behind the lyrics for that song, but I know in terms of the album as a whole, it's not a concept album, but like our earlier album Hope Downs, the songs sort of come from a similar place, despite the fact that there's three of us writing the lyrics. Um, this album we started writing it after the back of a year and a half of touring really quite
Yeah,
heavily,
yeah,
and coming home and sort of feeling a bit weird when coming home. Um, when towards the end of the tour, we're all sort of, I mean, we're all still having a really good time, but it's just, you just sort of feel a bit uprooted and without sort of you just sort of feel a bit um, without an anchor, because you've all your stuff back home is in boxes. You've, like, when I was over there, I had to give up my room in a share house, and then I just had my stuff at my folks' house. And then
yeah.
so you sort of like lose a sense of home. Then you get home and it's not the same as what it used to be. And it's funny how friendships can sort of change, or the people around you just sort of, the tectonic plates just sort of shift a little bit. It's like, oh, that person's hanging out with that person now. And it's just it just sort of came from a feeling of just sort of being just generally unanchored, unmoored. And for the songs that I was wanting to write, I was really trying to just reach forward to some sort of um, I don't know. I just wanted to pour myself into the album and make it sort of reflect what I want, the songs that I want to sing. Like positive songs and songs of love, and I don't know. I just wanted it to sort of be this like little document of like
Do,
hopefulness and
do you feel like you
certainty.
have to mentally prepare yourself for the next big tour type of thing? You
Uh,
ready for that?
yeah. Look, I am. Look, to be honest with us, that I really enjoy it, and I think all of us really do enjoy it. But it was just a weird time because it hadn't happened to us before. That it for the first time it sort of becomes the majority of your life, touring and not being at home, and that and then you just sort of think, oh well, it's um, yeah, you just sort of get a different sense of yourself and your life, and um, yeah, so the album
Yeah.
was sort of like trying to deal with that and work with that. But yeah, I definitely wouldn't want to give the impression that we don't like touring because we really do. I just love the idea of just sort of being just sort of pushed out like a shopping trolley through an intersection and just
Yeah.
where am I today? Oh, I'm in we're in Wyoming today. And I just really enjoy that.
You know what? You might have the opportunity to see places around the world that I may not even be able to go to in my lifetime. You know, so that's pretty incredible. I really envy musicians, touring musicians, because they get to do
Well,
that.
that's right. Like we get to see places that we would never have probably chosen to go on a holiday, but you get to see so much of the world, and like we've seen so much of the states. And I mean, I would have gone to the states anyway to go and see it, but I wouldn't have been able to see it as extensively. And like getting to see towns like Minneapolis. I mean, I'm not sure if I would have gone to Minneapolis, like um, or Denver, Colorado, or Portland, Seattle. Just getting to explore these places and I suppose, getting to understand the expanse of the states and the way that people think differently in different towns um, or like we're in Pennsylvania, and sort of the middle of Pennsylvania seems to be a completely different place to um, you know what is it? It's Pittsburgh and Philly. Is that right? Pittsburgh and
Yeah,
Philly.
yeah, big towns.
Yeah, but then they say in between it's Alabama, and it really is. It really seems like there are a lot of red hats there in a bar that we went to. That sort of
Sure.
vibe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, it's been a real privilege really to just see so many places that we wouldn't have otherwise seen.
Well, we feel like you guys are just a damn good rock band, and the song, at least that we've been playing on the air for a number of weeks now, again, "She's There" from Rolling Blackouts Coastal Fever, it just sounds great. It's perfect and kind of a no-brainer for our music mix, where we're very selective these days because we can't afford not to play a song that's like good.
Hmm.
Um, so thanks for that.
No,
What what's the collaboration like with everybody in the band? You had mentioned that there's maybe three songwriters, and is it three band leaders? And has it always been a big collaborative effort?
yeah, it has. I mean, the three singers. That's myself, Joe White, and Tom Russo. We used to play in a three-piece band together for years and years ago, and then we just sort of like gave that a go for a little while, and then just put it on the back burner. But we always just kept writing songs and sending them around to one another. Um, and then about 2011, we decided to keep these songs, or sort of give life to these songs we've been chipping away at. The idea of this song would be that we would all be the guitarist, singers, and then we would have Joe Russo, Tom's brother, and my housemate Marcel play drums to sort of flesh it out. Because beforehand, when it was a three-piece, I played drums, Joe White played bass, and Tom played guitar and sang. But this time we decided to make it more of a collective, and yeah, it's just been really collaborative all the way through. And in fact, it sort of became more collaborative at a certain point after we started playing live a little bit. Um, we started to write the songs together in the same room with the drums and bass, um, rather than just on three acoustic guitars. And then once that happened, the band became way more uh, all the songs. Um, so just and was thrown up against, building the songs from the ground up with the rhythms. But yeah, it's always been really collaborative. Like we all just write the songs together. So we split all the writing stuff together. It's 5 ways, and sometimes somebody will chime in and say, I've got a verse for that song, and they'll put the verse on that song. So it's we don't really think of it as your song, my song, his song.
Right. That's fantastic. You talk to guys in Dave Grohl's band and the Foo Fighters, and it's clear that it's Dave Grohl's band. Nobody's collaborating on anything in that particular band. The album title, Sideways to New Italy, was that something that you came up with?
Yeah. Sorry, it
And
just cut out a little bit there, but I think I'm back.
Okay, cool. Yeah, you were explaining something else before, and it cut out, and I got half of it, but I got enough, I think.
Sure.
Sideways to New Italy. I was reading a little bit online that New Italy is a place in Australia, and it's kind of an enclave, kind of its own little town within a town, within a region. Could you explain that a little bit? Because really, when you think about it, it's quite interesting.
Yeah. It's a sort of a quirky little town in northern New South Wales that was formed by some Venetian immigrants in the late 1800s who'd come over to an island in the Pacific, that they were sort of conned to going out to this land of milk and honey. And they got there and it wasn't anything like what they'd promised. And the New South Wales government, which is the state, somehow got wind of it, and they rescued a lot of people who were out on that island, and they brought them back. And this group of people built their own town there, sort of in the middle of nowhere in the Australian bush. They built like a Venetian church, 1880s era Venetian church, and it was like pretty much this Italian enclave just in the Australian bush. And nowadays it's just there's sort of just like a monument to it. It's like a museum / petrol station, sort of in the middle of nowhere. And it's this sort of like this monument to the former replica of home.
Wow.
And I mean, yeah, it's just a curious little place. I mean, the album is not like a broad, or it's not historical, account of that, or nor is it really a strict metaphor about that. But it's yeah, I suppose a lot of the songs on the album sort of deal with this, trying to build a some sort of home, or trying to, amidst the uncertainty, trying to just find something true to hold on to. And yeah, that's really what we did with the album. Is we wrote everything together in the same room, because and we would explore songs. Like someone would have a general idea for a song, like they might have a verse and a chorus. We would play on it a bit, and if it wouldn't feel right, we would just sort of like keep thrashing it out until we would find something that sort of sounded like us. And then we would go, oh, so like for example, the first song, second to the first, that was like a completely different idea, until we found this jam, which is now in the middle of the song. And we played on that for ages and ages. And we would return to that over the course of a few weeks. We called it the Green Monkey Forest. I don't know, that was just sort of what we thought of it. I don't know why. It just sort of felt like it was set in a forest somewhere. But we had to then try and find out what we loved that, and we're like, yeah, that sounds like us, and like that's something that we want to put on this record. Like that is something that we can carry through. And but then it was a case of trying to chase it down. Like, what is that bit? Like, that's the center of the song. We needed to find the rest of the song around it. But yeah, that's sort of how I feel about the album as a whole. Like, it's sort of us just trying to really harness what it is that we have, and put that down. Certainly. Yeah, that's the rough idea.
Yeah, I love the metaphor of trying to create something beautiful amongst chaos around you, type of thing.
Yeah.
Certainly does make sense. So give my regards to everybody in the band, and hopefully, God willing, when the dust settles and you guys make a trip out to Los Angeles and Orange County,
Yeah,
we'd love to have you in studio for a performance and interview and do it the proper
that'd be
way.
great.
Yeah.
That'd be
Um,
great. Yeah.
now that you figured out how to do this, are you going to do more of them if given the opportunity?
I mean, this is a great technology. Like I was still getting over the cassette, but no, this is good.
Yeah, this is good. It's a great way to catch up with artists for us, and
Yeah.
it's easier to do this than
Yeah.
route a band to the station with gear and stuff. So
Yeah.
once we started figuring out how to do this, it's like it's happening. It's a revolving
Yeah.
door, and it's good.
Yes.
It's really good.
Yeah. It is good. Yeah.
Cool, man. Well, I also, we got to wrap it up, but I hope that radio also has embraced you back home in Australia. You hear about stations like Triple J and
Yeah.
stuff like that. I'm a little familiar with what they're doing, but that might be a conversation for next time. Um,
Yeah. There's a
Fran,
lot of good radio support here.
yeah,
So
good,
thank you for
good.
your support over there.
My pleasure, Fran. You're a class act, my friend.
Thank you so much. Thanks so much for having me, and I hope that you enjoy your late afternoon, and hope that the dust settles quickly, and we'll see you over there soon.
I hope so. Congrats on the record. What we've heard so far is fantastic. Can't wait to hear the rest of it.
Great, great.
All
Thanks
right.
very much.
Talk to you soon, my man.
Speak soon.
Bye.